anyone could be saying, hey, I'm implementing AI, right? Putting a prompt into ChatGPT and getting an output is implementing AI. But the advantage of working with supplement experts or someone who's doing something that we're doing is, like I said, we have those millions of data points.
Hey, how's it going? It's Tim Brown, and this is the Hook Better Leads podcast. And today I've got Max Rosenblum of Supplement Experts and a new platform where they will be using AI to do better supplements, essentially what we're talking about today. So how is AI changing supplements? But first, Max, can you just give me a little bit of how supplements have kind of changed in the last few years before we get into the next phase?
It has changed in a lot of ways. I mean, you look at the industry as a whole, not just like the carrier. Let's take a look at the whole here. We've heard a lot about MRP programs and their prevalence within the industry and more policies aligning with that. And you see that because I'll tell you, at Supplement Experts, I get a lot more calls every single year saying, hey, can you help with our MRP stuff? Hey, do you have processes that help us with the MRP stuff? And for those of you who don't know, it's those managed to repair estimates. A lot of contractors are now becoming involved in these MRP programs, and if you're not, it's something that you should explore and get familiar with, because yes, it is the shift of the industry. And when I say it's the shift, I'm saying it's the downward shift to the contractor as opposed to an adjuster or an inspector going out, reviewing the damages and writing up a report. So us supplement companies, we're very proficient in how we use Xactimate in ways that maybe most contractors aren't or haven't needed to be, and now they need to be. So we're a further extension of a service, not just in supplementing, but in the estimating department primarily. And then of course, like as you mentioned, the implementation of AI in tech, if you're a supplementing firm or you're an estimating firm, you look at it and you say, okay, how can I make us more efficient? How can I make us better? And if you're not doing that, like you need to be, and if the company you're working with hasn't been putting things in front of you, how they are changing and improving, then that's something you need to be considering as well.
Does your company want to build your brand and get more jobs in the neighborhoods you're currently working in?
The Brick by Brick playbook allows you to establish your brand, your reputation, and gain trust in any neighborhood in your service area with a series of 4 postcards sent once a week to the neighbors of your current jobs. If you want to get more work in the neighborhoods you're currently working in, get with the team at Dope Marketing and get your Brick by Brick playbook set up today.
So you're kind of talking about this beforehand, but AI simply just using ChatGPT to do supplementing for you is not what you're talking about in this conversation. There's the ability to speed things up with basic AI, and then your company, though, has a lot of data from the last, like thousands and thousands of files. Or how many files essentially do you have the data on that help inform your guys' work?
Tens of thousands, honestly, millions of data points if you really aggregate it all together. Mm-hmm. And the way I look at it is, what phase of the process or of my business in particular can I implement this to? And it's not to necessarily keep employee count down and overhead, or not in overhead down. It's more so like, how can we be efficient and be better for our clients, where, hey, instead of and we have really good turnarounds, within 24-hour turnarounds within the busy season is considered to be really good. And that's a big selling point. But what if I could turn that into 15 minutes, right? That's a differentiator right there. Like what if when you tag us in your CRM, it just, our claims estimating tool does the work. And there's the same thing with responses to adjusters. It's, it takes time to perfectly craft a response, whether it's a phone call that you're automating or a drafted response. And, like I was just saying to you before, anyone could be saying, hey, I'm implementing AI, right? Putting a prompt into ChatGPT and getting an output is implementing AI. But the advantage of working with supplement experts or someone who's doing something that we're doing is, like I said, we have those millions of data points, right? We have, tens of thousands of previous claims, hundreds of thousands of emails, tons and tons of hours of calls recorded, right? That, we are aggregating together and finding our most successful outcomes, and even the ones that aren't successful. Those are useful data points. So we are aggregating that data together to make us more efficient and more successful with our outcomes with our supplements.
So just be real with me for a second. There's many times where you attempt to supplement for something that the insurance company says no. And those can be some of the most powerful data points you're saying, because essentially we don't want to waste our points on stuff because with the insurance carrier, you're probably in a spot where if you do that too much, you do stuff that they have to deny, that they're going to start to deny more of your stuff. Like essentially, I would guess that you could wear on their nerves and like they'll get more tight with the rules if you get too aggressive. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yes and no. I mean, the long understood thing with just insurance carriers is delay, deny, defend, right? So the longer they draw things out, the more likely they are to, people are to give up on them, right? I think the same could be reversed, right? If you're going to hold on to a claim for longer to get, all the last dollars, sure, it's going to be more successful. But what I think every contractor or supplement firm or whoever weighs is time versus outcome and where you need to be. If you're fighting over little, $500 or, whatever it is, or something that you don't have good supporting evidence for, how long do you want to push that, right? We're really good at supplement experts of knowing why, because we have those data points of, what's the outcome? How long does it take? What specifically to say? What do you say that's more likely to get something approved and approved quickly, and what the carriers are going to say yes to as opposed to no? Even just for example, when you're talking about decking, and this is something that comes across often and is difficult to get approved, particularly when it's something is rotten, right? Where does it fall? Because insurance carriers will say, well, that's something that predates the storm. We're not going to pay for it. But as every contractor knows, you can't nail into decking that's not going to hold the nail, right? And then you get into specifics of why that is, why that's the code, why the manufacturer requires it, and then pulling that language. That's something that if you have how you format the response, how you what specific data you pull in, things like that. That's something that AI really can help you improve on, right?
Can you give us some specifics? Like, how are you doing that? You're essentially pulling it in. You're not just using a custom GPT. You're using some kind of what's the technology behind that?
The tech stack. The tech stack will vary from different tasks, right?
Yeah.
Like our claims estimating tool will use, I think it uses GPT, Claude, Copilot, and Gemini all in one process.
Oh, okay. And to aggregate, what I've noticed with custom GPTs is if I give it a very large data set, it will summarize poorly, real tight stuff. I was trying to use it to work on something with a huge PDF, and it was pulling it in, but it was coming up with fake quotes and stuff like that. And so I was it feels like you have to have these deeper workflows to tap bigger data sets.
Yes and no. Here's the thing about AI is it's like a train on the tracks, right? And over time, the train on the AI track it's gonna start to get off the track, right? So working with a company who has the development team that's always making sure it's staying on the track when things feel like it's getting derailed is important. But also just if you're going to be building a custom GPT, the way that those GPT models work is it actually loves those files that you're saying, those longer PDFs. It wants those as opposed to multiple, right? Like 20 or 30 or whatever. It would rather that be one giant one. And then when you're instructing it, it's important that you're setting those guardrails, right? Like
Mhm.
don't hallucinate if you don't know what this is. Like if you can't find, if you're prompted to find something exact, stay within the exact guidelines, things like that. So you're on the right track, right? If you're uploading these bigger files, and if it doesn't seem to be finding it, tinker more and more with the instructions to be more definitive of what you need it to do.
Hmm.
Not just in the prompt, but in the GPT instructions itself.
Are you guys using N8N or any of the like?
Yeah.
Okay, you are. So yeah, okay, that makes sense. So then you're using some N8N workflows to kind of get the data and query it, and then do another task based on that kind of thing.
Yeah, N8N from like our development standpoint is absolutely essential, especially for the claims estimating tool that we're calling Adjust.ai. That is everything. When it comes to certain things, like for certain automations for supplement experts, whether it's automating responses to the carrier or
Yeah.
moving things in and around our Zoho CRM, or even like building an agent sometimes in Zapier, while it might be a little bit more expensive in some ways, it's so much more simple from a development standpoint that you could just go in and make that really, really quick.
That's awesome. So how is this separate? Like, so this is going to kind of be its own platform. You're kind of making a tech platform within a service company. How are you going to, this is great. I mean, shit, we're doing the same thing. We're building out N8N workflows to support our company and to basically allow us to not have to hire as much as we grow. That's part of what we're up to too. So the question is like, will this be a totally new service? And does this still help you guys go faster and do better in supplement experts? Are they separate, or or is it going to be really kind of similar?
Um, it's going to be separate, but it's going to be incorporated, of course, into Supplement Experts DNA. So there are some other estimating AI tools out there. We partnered directly with Verisk integration team. So our estimates that our AI generate actually will get imported directly into your Xactimate instance via API. So when I essentially started out looking at this, it was to help supplement experts. It was to say, okay, we're going to be able to be more efficient because for many reasons, and I'll get back to that in a second. But as I started to explore a little bit deeper, I realized that this tool alone as a standalone product could be more honestly bigger than supplement experts itself. Not everyone wants a supplement company to be following up on their files. They might have that built into their company. Okay, but this tool, if it essentially helps your company write estimates a lot faster, then it's something that could potentially become significant within your process. So stepping back and looking at that, and then kind of coming back to what I was saying, like the downward shift of the industry to that puts contractors in a situation where they really need to know Xactimate and really need to know how to write estimates. Okay, well, what if again we could simplify the MRP process, things like that. So that's how Adjust AI came to be a standalone product that we hopefully, well, no, we will have out on the market by end of Q1.
Ooh, so summer of 2026, your claims might be a lot easier to handle. It's happening all so quick, Max. This is I know it also feels slow in a way because I think we're sold this crazy dream of AI. But the funny thing is when you start to use it for real stuff, like as we're building out the N8N stuff, I'm like, it's hard work. It's not actually that easy to build a whole N8N system or a whole like automation stack using a bunch of different tools and data. Like it almost is comforting in a way that it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, like, and it is hard. It is hard. I mean, I tell you, I meet with our developers every day in the tasks that they handle that go way above my head because it's funny. I've I built Supplement Experts from scratch, from the ground up, and it was, in ways, the reason why we were successful right out the gate was I was able to leverage tech in ways maybe other people weren't, and it made us successful. This is a whole new level. So, I really have had to learn how to become a legitimate a tech project manager to get this company going off this tool off the ground. But it is hard. I talked to some contractors who have been like, yeah, we don't really need it. We don't really care to work with a supplement company anymore because we're able to put things in ChatGPT and it's able to tell us what's missing. And it's like, that's great. But, we take it a step further where we go ahead and we write the file completely and we input it right into your Xactimate instance or give you an outputted PDF.
If you truly believe in what you're doing and you want to be the best version of yourself and you want to build a great organization, there's no other place to do that besides the Roofing Academy.
So yeah, it's also like, as we've all competed with AI, because I'm 100%. I remember one time 2 years ago, I had it on my calendar just like last week because I put it in a yearly recurring reminder, and it said, check this guy's website, because he told me 2 years ago or 3 years ago maybe, he's like, I'm going to use AI to do my SEO, and so I don't need agencies anymore. And I remember thinking about it, I'm like, my heart trapped. I was like, oh my God, it's really going to take our jobs. It's so cool. And so I checked 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, 2 years, and 3 years later, because that's how I am. I'm going to be relentless about looking into whether it worked. You know what happened? He's not ranking for much, by the way. In fact, his rankings have gone down, but it's not maybe for the reason you think, because I don't think AI is not bad at this. It's not bad. It's good. The problem is he still needed to do it. You still need to do it. You still need to do and manage it and do the things, the little things around the perimeter. So it's not that AI is bad at this. It's that you still need to wield the tool. The tool is not going to, currently, none of the tools just do all the work for you. So you still have to help.
100%. And I think you're actually, you pretty much hit on my next point, which is to expect a robot or a long language model or an AI or anything to just completely replace is wrong. I think if you start to look at it and say, well, maybe it gets you 80 or 90 or whatever percentage the way there, sure. But there still needs to be an end user who's inputting or who is reviewing. Because like I said, AI gets off the guardrails really simply. And if no one's looking at it, that's what happens. And as time goes on, it's going to get better and better and better, but it's not going to completely replace in most cases. So when I talk to our employees here at Supplement Experts and they see what we're building, I think the narrative, especially in the media, of losing jobs to AI is real, and I think that's a fear. And I could sometimes feel our employees even be a little bit hesitant towards working on these types of projects with me. But the way I explain it to them is look, if I can make you that much more efficient, then that just opens up more opportunity for you to earn commission or bonuses or whatever the case. It's still there for you. It's not going anywhere, right? Maybe does it reduce the need to hire X amount of employees to do certain tasks? Sure, right? But that's also just the nature of the beast of this industry, is that it's, especially in the claims world, it's a seasonal business for the most part, especially if you're completely almost if you're doing exterior in most of the country, right? Scale up, scale down. How can you handle these shifts in volume? For us at Supplement Experts, I don't want to have to hire 10 more employees from June to November for multiple ethical reasons, right? So if I can stick with my core and still, be able to, have that shift in volume, that's the goal.
I think as an employee, my mindset would just be, I'm going to master these tools so that I'm useful no matter what's next. And I mean, like, no job is forever. No employee is forever, really. It's like we all have to be sharpening our skills. I think we all learned that, maybe our parents, could work at one job for 20, 30 years, but I think most of us will have 5 jobs or at least a couple. And I think the point is get good with the tools in front of you now. And the tools are really good. I still think of them as tools.
Well, that's what they are.
And they're really good tools for the person who has an open mind to be creative with them. They're not going to do everything for you. And if you think that way, then yeah, they're going to be bad, I think. They're not like, because probably somebody's like, I already used AI for supplements and it was bad. It's like, well, if you can imagine, there's people getting better and better with these things to the point where they've mastered wielding this tool in such a way that it's way better than any vanilla ChatGPT thing that you're ever going to look at.
Absolutely. And these tools are only going to get better with time and more data and more users, things like that. Like that's the thing. It's like for us, we have an advantage where we have, Adjust.ai has supplement experts, right? Where we have the data that backs it, and then we are testing it internally within supplement experts before going to early use case or early users, right? But like it's the same thing for these other guys that might be going to the to market, whether it's like a claims responding tool or another claims estimating tool, like whatever the case is. Like I get it, like you use it at first, it might be clunky, you might not like it. I'm not saying ours is going to be like that, but maybe there are other tools. I've used other tools out there that certainly were. Then you go back 3 months, 6 months later, and it's very different. It's very different. Tech is moving at a speed that we haven't seen probably since the .com boom or the iPhone boom.
Can you give me a few more things that you feel like, I know I always pick your brain on this whenever you're on the show, but like people that should be supplementing that maybe they're not always supplementing. And I know it's really comes down to being accurate, but maybe something that would be a value add that they should be doing on jobs if they're not currently doing.
I'm sure if anyone's heard me speak before, they're kind of just going to roll their eyes again at this, but you gotta be, taking or getting data from your builds, and that's more specific than that. That's the photos, right? Like, the carriers know that you're not gonna be at, a lot of you guys won't be at your builds, or you're not gonna get your builders to be documenting the build, right? So I mean, you look at what farmers did. They said, you know what, we see too many roofers who are reusing drip edge on the eaves. So if you aren't going to show us replacing it, we're not going to pay for it. And they know, okay, if 80% of the time these guys aren't going to go out and get these photos, 80% of the time we don't have to pay for drip edge on the eaves, right? If you're a contractor, ask yourself, how many times on a job did I not get paid for something like that because we didn't do for it? And I guarantee you it's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, right? So, I mean, if you want to get even more granular with it, make your data more definitive, right? How can I make my data more definitive? All right, here's an example. Here's the photo of the roof. If I label it and, show it here, here, and here, like this is where it is on the house, I'm not really here to argue with an adjuster. I'm here to show them, like, here's where this is. It's a definitive fact that this is where the damage is, or this is where this had to be replaced, right? The better the data, the better the outcome.
Okay. If somebody was going to try to do as good of a job at you guys as supplementing in-house, what would you say usually is the part where they kind of fall down a little bit?
Organization, right? Like, for us, we have so many stop gaps, like within our process when something's in this supplement process, that like there isn't a single job that's open within our process that doesn't have a task associated with it. And if it does, we get notified that this doesn't have a task, and it gets it. Like I do not end any day. We do not end any day with any of our jobs not having a task associated with it, which means it will get followed up, right? It's trackable, things like that. Because I mean, like I talk to people all the time who say I don't know where things stand with this file, or I have to bug our person all the time to like give me an answer, things like that. We don't we very seldomly get that complaint from our client of, you're not touching our files enough. We touch your files every other day, like in general. So, or at the very least. So I'd say organizationally, like we're going to be superior than the vast majority of in-house people. I'm confident with that.
Awesome. If I was to want to like be useful to you, Max, like how could I be useful to you? Refer you when someone asks in Facebook groups,
Yeah, of course.
become a customer. What else can I do to be useful to you guys? I'm rooting for supplement experts. So
all the above. Like last year was a very difficult year, I think, across the industry. Most people were down between 30 and 40% in terms of volume. It was very much the same for us. It was a weird year. Some of our best markets didn't get any damage. I looked at the hail trace data yesterday that showed that storms were pretty much on par as far as it goes for hail across the country. But I'd be curious to see how many homes were affected or what like the models look like on that. So, I get it. It's been slower. Maybe you've had the capacity to handle supplementing on your own, or your guys have been, and you've been able to justify, hey, I don't have to have the overhead of an in-house estimator, or I haven't had to outsource to someone like Supplement Experts. Well, we're getting into the year where maybe that changes, and are you prepared for that, right? Like if a hailstorm hits Denver, Colorado tomorrow, am I set up for success? Yes, no, maybe, I don't know. So this is a good time of year to reach out to us, get involved with us, even if you don't have files, just being prepared for, hey, if something does happen, that you are prepared, because your cash flow can't stop, especially due to supplementing.
100%. Where can they go to get started, Max?
You can reach us, fill out a form on our website, www.supplementexperts.net. You can give us a call, 720-541-9679. And you can also reach us by email, info@supplementexperts.net. Our Facebook page, our Instagram page, where those are also live and pretty active. Always respond to those as well.
Automate your communication with Proline, the only communication-first CRM for roofers. Because when you fix your communication, you'll sell more jobs.
We had 200% growth, and I attribute that to Proline.
But just with one automation, I was able to get 25 Google reviews.
Proline's not going to win the beauty pageant, but it will save your Saturday.
Awesome. Thank you. And the show is put on by Hook Agency. Hook Agency all over social media, hookagency.com. And I want to end with a recent review we got from Marcus Sheridan, which is kind of crazy. One of my favorite authors that worked with us. He actually found us on ChatGPT, which was sick. And he reached out and he became a customer. Can you imagine that? A favorite author of yours comes through on ChatGPT, made the whole company read it, his book, They Ask You Answer, before he came in. And then he came in and he was like, and by the way, so he said, I spent $120,000 in 1 year and didn't get a single sale from it on Google Ads before. And I didn't believe the numbers myself, but that's what happened. With Hook, everything flipped. This last year, we spent far less than before, and we generated well over $1 million in sales from paid ads. Next year, as we keep expanding, we'll likely double and even triple our investment with Hook, which is dope. And like he already has he's working with us on the thing that he came in from. So we're doing AEO, which is AI optimization, and he has already signed up for us. So it's kind of cool. This guy, he's like a master of content marketing. Like that's what They Ask You Answer is about. And he's working with our company for his home service business. So just grateful. Appreciate everyone.
Real quick before we get out of here,
Yeah.
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
That actually sparked a question for me. So I've noticed through our website, because it gives us the source, and we have been getting some leads from ChatGPT, and actually the conversion rate on those leads are really, really high.
Yes.
So I'm sure you at Hook Agency are getting asked quite a bit, like, what can I be doing to optimize AI models to push clients to us.
Yes. I think one, make lists of best of companies. That's the most obvious thing you can game right now is make lists on your website of best, like for instance, for you, best supplement companies, or they could do best roofing companies in, best siding companies in, and do all the cities in your area, do lists. Because that's one way that we know customers are coming in. They're saying, what are the best this company in this, and then they're clicking. And the reason the conversion rate is going up or is higher, which is dope, right? And some are saying even as high as 4 times higher than on Google is because it feels like it's already done some research on our behalf, right?
So
Like,
let me get this right. Are you making lists of of services that are necessarily your competitors on your
yes,
website, your website?
yes. And
How does
obviously you'd position yourself as number one.
Right.
And obviously, like you can play down their strengths a little bit, play up your strengths. But at the same time, you can also do that on YouTube. You can do that. I do this all the time. If anyone follows our YouTube, they'll know exactly what I'm doing because I do it too. It hurts to include competitors, doesn't it? Well, it hurts way more when the person who's showing up for that list is Yelp or a competitor and they get to set the premise, right? So the best of list is the best way. And then you can also do it on other websites. So you can do a guest post on other websites, position yourself as the best, and boom, there's the biggest one. The other one is being involved like in communities. So now Facebook is getting pulled into search results. Also Reddit and Quora are 2 places. If somebody's asking for you, Max, a great supplement company, you should be there. You should be there saying, this is what I've noticed between the better supplement companies and the not as good ones, excuse me.
So you're saying ChatGPT is pulling that data and that's how they're basing some of their recommendations?
It totally depends. So really, this is what I would do. I would search things I want to be found for, maybe on incognito or not signed in on ChatGPT. And then I would figure out where it was sourcing from. So you know how it gives those little links?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, right now it's checking out from Reddit. Oh, it's checking out from Quora. Oh, it's checking out from this best of list on whatever website. I will try to create more content like what it's sourcing from on somewhat authoritative websites, on different websites. You can do that through guest posting. You can do that through, lots of ways. We do a lot of this stuff on behalf of our clients. So we're doing AEO now, and it's $2,000 if you layer it onto your SEO service, or it's $4,000 alone. And that's a very good introductory price. Because to be honest, we're really still learning what we're doing.
Right.
And I've been very honest about that because my thing is what it is now might not be exactly what it is in 6 months. Because for a while there, Reddit was getting sourced way more. And then marketers figured it out and started gaming Reddit. And so you can kind of see it's going to progress. It's going to evolve. The point is that you should be, if you're going hard, you probably should allocate a few hours, at least a week, to trying to figure out what your top search things are. We show we're doing our best to track that and tracking tools, although that's hard too. But the tools are getting better and better around it. And it is becoming a real service. It's some people are it's the exact same as SEO, and it is very close. If you do a good job at SEO, it's a lot of it applies. So that's good. That's why we have pricing efficiency if we're doing both. But there are things that are a little bit different than SEO. And the point is I want to see effort applied to those things every single month on my behalf as a roofing company. I want to be ahead of the game here. If it's, if ChatGPT and others, chatbots are 5% of the market right now, I tend to think that if I get a stronghold there, if I get in early, that I'll get a much better ROI long term because I don't think it's going to go down. No. You know what I'm saying? I think the AI search bots are going to get to 20, maybe take over the industry. But right now they're at 5%. It's slowly creeping up, and then once it hits a boiling point, then it's gonna go. Whew. But I think part of that is they got to make it to monetization I mean, we'll see how it all goes. But the point is, you don't want to completely sleep on it, because what if it takes over and it's like replaces Google? Even Google's AI overviews can be gamed a little bit differently now than. I'll give you one last tip than one just normal Google is creating a little bit more like FAQ style blog posts and like kind of doing it like you're answering 20 questions. So if there's like supplements, like outside company supplement pricing or something like that, right? It's like a tight topic that you know people are asking. And you answer 20 subsets of those questions. You can use AI to find them. You might want to adjust the content a little bit to feel a little bit more human, but then you're getting cited more often because it's got more of these questions that you're covering on the website. So FAQ style blog posts is another thing. And like, basically I'm creating more content because I'm trying to program the monster.
Right. I think that's all. I feel like I understood exactly what you're saying there. And I feel like those are all really, really good tips.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate everyone. We'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks.
Peace.
They're so thorough with every detail of the website. Working with Hook, the design is probably 50x better than any other design I've ever had. Their team is super communicative, and I mean this genuinely. I'm happy to pay you guys to work with us. It's been a tremendous experience.